we made the comment in the video that we took a perfectly good '85 Corvette. Well, it wasn't. The car literally had been flooded. It sat in the desert for 10 years. Nothing worked on it. They say, oh, everybody's like, oh, I could use that dash. No, you couldn't. It was cracked and destroyed before we even got the car. It was an $1,800 '85 Corvette. There was nothing worth saving on the car except maybe not even the wheels, because one of the original wheels was bent or cracked. I can't remember. Maybe the hood and the headlights. Other than that, everything else was bashed on the car.
Yeah. Do you think maybe you rushed the video a little bit because I'm just wondering, and obviously it's always easy to be Monday morning quarterback, but in hindsight maybe a walk around the car so that most people could really see that, hey, this car really wasn't didn't have much life left in it. And then the other comment that I would say, and you can respond to, is that it seemed like in the video that the people that were participating might have been a little overzealous.
Well, we were having fun. I mean, I will readily admit we were having fun. I was involved in Pontiac, in the '90s, and it was a blast. I mean, regardless of what kind of car it is, when you take a angle grinder to a quarter panel of something that's truly going to go to the junkyard anyway, it's kind of fun, And so, yeah, for the video and everything, we tried to make sure we were having a good time. In hindsight, I don't know. I mean, in hindsight, maybe we should have shown a little bit more of it, but then, we'd be giving away the story, and that it's called a teaser video for a reason, And like you said in the opening to this show, there's no such thing as bad press, and I believe that's true. Maybe not. I mean, maybe the Corvette guys will never forgive us, But I think if they calm down and wait for the full video, and especially the full story in the magazine, which should be out in a month and a half or so, I think their opinion will change. Some of them won't. Some of them will always hate us. But
now,
I think if they look at it with a logical eye, they'll go, "Oh, okay,
right.
They did this for a reason, and they're actually promoting the C4 Corvette based on what they're doing with the carcass, essentially."
Is the project done? Is it completed?
No, we're still working on it. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of work to it that I don't want to really divulge because that's a source of future stories.
Right.
But it's going to be a badass track car, and we're going to get out and race it.
Okay.
At things like the open track shootouts that they have for pro touring cars and things like that. I mean, that's what we want to compete in, and it will be brutally fast.
Right.
And it'll be a C4 Corvette chassis. So yes, it'll be promoting that genre of cars, that generation of Corvettes.
Do you think Corvettes and their owners are true hot rodders in your opinion?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. I mean, I owned a '73 Corvette, back in college. And the guys I met ranged from hardcore, greasing their fingernails hot rodders to, guys drinking wine and eating cheese. I mean, they range all over the place.
All right. So you had one in '73?
No, I had a '73 in the late '80s.
Okay, all right. And have you driven any of the newer Corvettes or any of the recent ones?
I have not driven a ZR1 yet, but I've driven pretty much all the rest of them. I drove one of the original ZR1s back in '90 or '91, 90 I guess it was, but that was a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we get test cars and things like that. I mean, I love Corvettes. I won't necessarily call myself a Corvette guy, but I have owned one and I like them. And literally, it's like I saw that car from 50 feet away. And it's like, wow, we're really going to cut that thing up. And then I got up close and started looking at it and smelled it, and it's like, oh man, anybody else buys this, they're going to they're going to rip the suspension parts out of it for a street rod, and they're going to send the carcass to the wrecking yard because it was that bad.
Right. Well,
we couldn't make it, or we had to take the tune port off to really make it run.
Yeah. Well, at least here at this show, you're able to clarify some of those issues. Maybe in the future, future teaser videos will be able to at least get some of that, cleared up as well. But kind of a difficult question for you. Do you think that, and bear with me for a minute, but do you think that your response to criticism in a way has been somewhat hypocritical? Let me clarify, but both you and David had you kind of had some harsh words for some of the people who came on and did criticize the video. aren't you in turn kind of being the same thing that you were accusing the Corvette people of being? Because they have a passion for the car, you guys have a passion for your story. You think maybe you got kind of tripped up a little bit on that hypocrisy thing?
You mean during this interview, or because I think the whole
situation?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I think the only thing that any of us have posted publicly is David went on to, I think it was Corvette forums when this was really heated, like maybe 2 days into it, and essentially said kind of what I just did, which is, hey, you're only getting a little bit of the story. And I think his quote, I don't have it in front of me, was, not a single one of you would have bought any one part on this car because they were all that trashed. And he's actually the one who said maybe the hood and headlights. The rest of the car was junk, literally junk.
Right.
And of course,
I think that's
all that we've said.
That didn't come over very well, though, with the community. I mean, it didn't seem to, ease over the tensions. It in my, from what I could see, it seemed like it kind of fanned the flames more.
I don't understand why, because it was completely honest. It wasn't inflammatory. And plus you have to realize, I mean, some of the comments made on that forum and YouTube and those, some of those were so over the top that, I mean, there was no such thing as fanning the flames then. We could have gone on and called them names and, played their game, but we didn't. We just went on and tried to clarify and say, look, this car was a complete pile. It's not, we said perfectly good car, perfectly good 85 Corvette on the video, but it wasn't. That was just part of the video. Right. The car was a complete pile. And it was true. What he said was nobody would have bought any of those parts. The rear fascia, the front fascia, everything was gacked. It was junk.
Okay.
I don't see that as being hypocritical at all.
Okay. Any regrets in undertaking this project?
No, I would say, again, in hindsight, maybe we probably should have run a slightly longer video that showed more of what we actually did and less of, like I said, the buffoonery of just us bashing a Corvette into pieces, and let them know a little bit more what was going on. But, it certainly got a lot of people's attention and has them interested, even if it's made them really angry. It's made them interested, and hopefully they'll use their better judgment and wait and see what we did with the actual car. The story is actually shipped to the printer today. It's done. So, hopefully they will wait for the video and pick up that magazine or find it at their doctor's office or wherever and go, oh, okay, And in that case, then we did our job because we made them pick it up.
Right. We have a viewer email here from Tony, a.k.a. HLNA55 from Canadian Corvette Forums, and he asks, what was the biggest challenge that the Corvette presented during your project?
Traction, because we tried to get our compound tires, and at the last minute it fell through trying to get them. So we bought some new BF Goodrich Canadian G-Force. I think they're G-Force tires. They're just all-around performance tires. And as we started taking weight off, the car did go faster. It looked much faster too, but as we started, I think at the point when we took the doors off, it wouldn't hook up anymore. We changed the alignment as good as we could. We got that as close as we could, but the car got so light and was now making enough power that our driver was literally dirt tracking it around the course, and it slowed down until the very last segment. So on your drag strip and the other 2 stories we did, it just went faster and faster and faster. In handling, it really points out, the importance of proper alignment, suspension geometry, and tires, depending on weight and power. So that'll all come through in the story too. And the video is going to be awesome because we had like 3 on-car cameras, and it's really cool. I've seen the raw footage.
And when do you expect that to be up?
That is time to hit with the on-sale date of the magazine, which our on-sale is September 14th. So it'll probably be on hotrod.com a little bit before that.
Okay. Well, September 14th, you want to check out the newsstands. All right. One last question for you. And do you think you and the staff at the Hot Rod Magazine owe the Corvette community an apology?
No. I think our apology will be what we do with the final car. I think, that should be all the apology we need to do because, maybe we regret firing them up quite to the level that we did. Like I said, maybe we should have given them a little bit more of the story, but I think our apology is the last couple installments of that private car. And I think that will smooth everything over. Not with everybody, but hopefully with most of them.
Hopefully the ends will justify the means, huh?
I think they will. I think the ends are going to more than justify the means. And we have some photos in the printed story, and they should be in the final video too, that show just how bad that car was. I mean, there were literally rats living in it. It was gone. And I think once they finally see that, they'll be like, oh, okay, this wasn't a perfectly good 85 Corvette. You wouldn't even, nobody in their right mind would have even restored that car, because, hey, it's an 85 Corvette. It's like one of the, and I don't mean this to irritate C4 owners, but it's not one of the best years of Corvettes.
Right.
And, it would not be worth it other than just the pride in owning an 85 Corvette to restore it, because it needed everything. Just to make the car run and drive down the road legally is a couple $1,000, and it was so beat that I don't believe anybody would have put that effort into it.
Right.
And I believe if we would have saved all those parts, taken them off very carefully and saved all those parts, I think anybody who came to look at them, unless they really, really, really needed something, they'd look at it and go, oh, no, I can find much better than this in the typical junkyard.
Right. Okay, well, hopefully that video will show all that, and Corvette community will be able to kind of simmer down a little bit, and maybe some people will need to retract some of their harsh words and offer up a few apologies and renew their subscription to the Hot Rod magazine, you think?
We don't really expect any, apologies being revoked or, any of that. We just hope for an open mind among all those people. And like I said, look at the finished product and judge us by that. Not by a 1-minute video that doesn't tell the whole story.
Okay, sounds good. Rob's the editor of Hot Rod Magazine. He's been our guest today on Vet Chat. Rob, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. And hey, Corvette guys that are listening to this, I'm sorry if it irritated you, but the car's going to be cool, and it's going to be a tribute to C4 Corvettes and all Corvettes when we're done. So I hope you just stick with us long enough to watch that.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Have a good